friends, it's Teresa and welcome back to my channel. We are now entering the part of the year where my lighting will no longer be almost all natural. This is a ring light. I'm nearly blinded trying to get this lighting for you guys. But today, considering one of the prompts for this year is to read a Gothic book, and because I really do, despite like having read I guess I've read like Wuthering Heights, I've read Dorian Gray multiple times, I've read Frankenstein, I've read Mexican Gothic, I guess I have read like a handful, I guess Dracula, I've read Dracula, I have Dracula somewhere here. Among other probably Gothic literature that I have read in the past due to school or personal reasons but have completely forgotten about. And plus I do love a good Gothic movie. I love Crimson Peak. I love The Invited, all those things and more. I just really do enjoy like an atmospheric read where like everything is coming to life and everything, and the protagonist can barely trust themselves, let alone the people they're around. I love me a good Gothic setting. Because it's already Halloween season, where it'll be Halloween in 2 weeks and I have no idea what I'm gonna go as. And this year's, one of the prompts for this year's trick-or-treat-a-thon is to read a Gothic book. I thought I would compile about 6 books that I would like to read that are Gothic, like in the Gothic literature. Now, Gothic does span a lot more than just like your scary, your creepy, your in the dark hiding behind the corner kind of thing. It has expanded to a Gothic fantasy, to Gothic, to the classic Gothic novels, which I did include here, to the modern Gothic, to Gothic romance, Gothic horror. So there's a lot of things, and I did try to kind of include quite like a handful of things that are within the Gothic genre. So let's get into it, because I do have plans on revisiting this list probably sometime next year to see if I've even touched any of these books, which the hope is that by then I have read at least a handful of these books, at least three. So let's hop into it. So the first book is actually A Study in Drowning by Ava Reid. I don't remember if this is YA or YA or adult. I want to say it is leaning toward the older adult or else the younger adult, older YA. I'm forgetting which genre this book particularly, or age category this book particularly falls under. But this follows young Effie, who has been haunted with visions of the Fae King since she was a young girl. She has read her copy of the Angharad by Emrys Myrddin, a story of a girl who falls in love with the king and then destroys him. When the Myrddin family announces a drawing contest to draw their manor in the most beautiful way possible, she jumps on the tasks. She jumps into the competition headfirst, just really wanting to be immersed in this world that she has loved so much since she was a child. Now, faced with this task of drawing this, she runs into an academic rival of hers who is determined to bring down the Myrddin's family legacy with all the dark secrets they hold. Now stuck in a mansion with him and having this gigantic task to draw this mansion in the best way possible, she is now starting to uncover those secrets as well. Now this has been rotating and circling around BookTube a lot, or not BookTube, BookTok a lot, as a Gothic romance mixed with some dark academia. I don't think it's very dark academic, but the academic rival bit kind of gives me those vibes. But I'm intrigued to see this. I have heard some good things about Ava Reid's writing. I think she was the one who did that one retelling. The next two are actually classics, because I love me a good Gothic classic. But this one is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I have had a lot of friends love Daphne du Maurier's writing. I have had Rebecca on my list for a hot minute now, and it's just time to read it. But this follows a young unnamed woman who marries a young unnamed man, and they both whisk themselves off. And then as she is enjoying marital life, she finds out that this house and her now husband is haunted by the woman, his first love, or his first wife, Rebecca. I have again heard really good things about this, and I'm very intrigued to see exactly what this book is about and see why my friends love Daphne du Maurier so much. But I'm very excited and I cannot wait to see what is in this book. Alright, the next book is one that I really want to get to, and that is Carmela by Sheridan Le Fanu. This is a vampire book. It's pretty queerer than Dracula, and actually predates Dracula by I believe like 20 years. This follows Carmela as she is a powerful vampire and falls in love and in lust with the young Laura. And it kind of shows their romance, the obsession, the love story, all wrapped up in one. And I have heard such good things about this book. It's queer vampires. It's like the original vampire story predating Dracula himself. And I want to say, I could be very, very wrong. Yes, the author of Carmela is Irish, and we all know how I love my Irish authors. The next book is A Dreadful Splender by B.R. Myers. This follows it's actually a Gothic romance that follows young Genevieve Thomas as she acts like a spiritualist and she swindles mourning wealthy people for money. That is one day until she missteps and ends up actually now in line to hang in the noose. While waiting for her sentence and her death, she's like given a deal by the young Pemberton, who wants to find out exactly what happened to his now deceased fiance. Now her plan is to just pull off the seance of this decade and make it seem like she knows what she's doing in order to just buy her freedom. That is until she finds out that Pemberton thinks that his fiance, did not die by natural causes, but actually was murdered. So now she is stuck in this weird little situation where she and Pemberton must now figure out what happened to his wife and how to lure the killer out of hiding. I'm really excited with this book. I think it's gonna be super like twists and turnies. I want to see how the romance pans out, and I want to see exactly what happened to the wife. I haven't heard much about this one, but I'm very intrigued by it. I'm always down for a very fun and very like interesting. It gives me like almost like, it's not exactly this vibe, but the spiritualist concept set in like Victorian London gives me like Penny Dreadful vibes, that TV show, which I guess could also be counted as like a kind of a Gothic kind of scenario. Very intrigued by this book, very excited to see what it's about, and hopefully I can find it in my library because my library has been failing me a little bit. The second to last one is The Haunting of Alejandra by V. Castro. This follows Alejandra. She is kind of struggling with her identity right now. To everyone else, she is a mother, a daughter, a wife, but to her, she is a woman struggling with not only her identity, but also this weird darkness inside of her. She's constantly seeing visions of a young woman dressed in white, drenched in her tears and crying hysterically. If you all can kind of get the vibe, you know where this is going, and I'm terrified of this book already. But while she's going to therapy to learn more about her biological mother, she finds that every generation of women before her biological generation, like her biological family, has been seeing visions of this crying woman as well. This woman, as we all know, is the La Llorona. La Llorona is determined to drag down her as she did her other family members throughout the years. And now Alejandra has to find a way to banish this woman forever, or else she is doomed to have the same fate as her mother and her foremothers before her. Now, if you guys don't know me, I grew up with a lot of Hispanics in my schools, in my neighborhood, in my friendship groups. There was one story, there's multiple actually, that's a lie, but one specific story in particular that always terrified the living crap out of me. That's one of them. I don't fuck with her. I try not to think about her too much either, so this is too much thinking about her already, considering I had to read the synopsis, write it down, and now I'm speaking it out loud to you, and then I will have to hear it when I'm editing. So I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm excited to read it, but I do know for a fact I will have to read this book in the sun only, in the sunlight only, when there is sunny suns. You know, surrounded by a group of people in the sunlight. I don't fuck with this myth or this story. I don't. It's scary to me. The last book is Opium and Absence by Lydia Kang. This is set in 1899 following Tilly Pembroke after the death of her sister. This is like in the rise of when Dracula was actually published. So her sister is found dead with completely drained of blood and 2 puncture wounds on her neck. Now everyone's like, imaginations are running wild because Dracula had just gotten published. So everyone's like, oh my god, it's actually a vampire. Vampires are real. Bram Stoker didn't just pull it out of his ass. But Tilly is not resting until she finds out who her sister's killer is. But considering she is racked with this grief, she turns to a group of friends who provide her with a little something that's in the title that keeps her under and keeps her kind of like stuck in this phase where she can't really grieve her sister, but she's grieving her sister. And these friends of hers are more than likely to continue to provide her with this drug. Now, as the killer continues killing, and she is like considerably like under the influence most of the time, Tilly is now struggling to figure out exactly what is real and what is a drug-induced vision. I'm intrigued by this. I love, again, it's inspired not only by a gothic novel, but it also does go off of like actual like the roots of Gothic literature, which is like the 1800s. So I'm very intrigued by this novel in particular. But that is it for the books I am hoping to read in the next few like months, probably bleeding into next year, that are from the Gothic genre. Again, I'm a huge fan of Gothic literature, huge fan of Gothic movies, so it's a surprise to me that I haven't read a ton of Gothic literature, but I'm hoping to change that in the next coming months and next year. So if you guys want to follow that journey, hit like, subscribe, and comment. But if you guys have read these books and want to tell me like your quick thoughts on them that won't spoil the book for me, let me know in the comments. But until next time, hopefully you guys are having a wonderful time with your Halloween season. Hopefully you guys know what you're wearing for Halloween. But yeah, or if you guys have other Gothic novels you want to recommend me, also let me know. But until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.